As human beings, we began learning many things early in our existence, but our first and most practical lessons likely came from two ancestral forces: fear and greed. Even though we possess free will and are the CEOs of our lives, our decisions have historically been shaped, directly or indirectly, by these influences. These inherited traits still show up today as dominant forms of knowledge. If you look honestly at your own fear and greed, you may notice that they were among the earliest instincts you learned from your environment. This is where the story of human control began. Throughout history, people discovered how easily we can be motivated by fear and greed, and so the philosophy of control emerged. Parents use it, groups use it, nations and religions use it. Politicians and business leaders rely on it constantly. But is this true for every individual? No. Each of us must look inward to understand what truly drives us, and whether those drivers are aligned with truth or inherited survival instincts. Not all long-standing knowledge is correct, and not everything passed down to us is spiritually aligned. Plain and simple. If something is not based on truth, it should not be connected to God. If an idea is driven by business interests or political influence, then it is not spiritual truth. Business and politics may be necessary for society, but using spirituality or God to sell those ideas is unethical. Once elites recognized our psychological weaknesses, they exploited them for influence and control. If you want spirituality rooted in truth, remove business and politics from your worldview and see what changes. Suddenly, clarity will emerge about God, spirituality, and everything in between. You will begin seeking truth that makes sense for the era in which you live rather than recycling outdated beliefs. For example, just as I once looked through an anatomy book and learned that muscles are spindle-shaped, I later picked up Eat Right for Your Blood Type. That book triggered a deeper exploration into nutrition, even though its ideas remain scientifically unproven. Still, the concept of individualized nutrition made more sense to me than blindly following the status quo or relying on medications for every issue. Decades later, Dr. Gundry's plant paradox discusses similar ideas, such as lectins and their potential health impacts. These perspectives require an open mind, but they have helped many people, including several of my clients, simply by making nutritional changes. In the book Eat Right for Your Blood Type, Dr. Diadamo explains that people with blood type A produce fewer digestive enzymes than those with type O. If that is true, then sugars, which are the easiest to digest and are absorbed starting in the mouth, would still be processed easily. However, proteins, fats, and fibers require more enzymes. Without them, sugar absorption becomes rapid, causing insulin spikes. Over time, nutrient deficiencies develop, metabolism slows, and chronic health conditions emerge. If you are blood type A, eat heavy amounts of meat, and struggle with health issues, this information may be worth considering. Regardless of how old the book is, you may benefit from reading it. I strongly believe nutritional deficiencies are deeply connected to disease. People eat differently, have different blood types, and experience a wide variety of health conditions. So develop your own strategy. Your health may depend on it. Structural issues and muscle imbalance. Our bodies also face structural challenges due to muscle imbalances, lifestyle habits, stress, and aging. Teenagers, for example, grow long bones rapidly, but their muscles may not thicken at the same pace, creating temporary instability, similar to what older adults experience when muscle mass declines. By our 60s, muscle loss becomes significant. A head that weighs the same as it always has will now be supported by weaker neck muscles, forcing surrounding muscles to compensate. Tight traps may be the first sign of a deeper issue, not ergonomics but muscle loss. It's not the screen height that causes the problem, it's the weakness in the neck muscles. Adjusting the screen up or down won't solve the issue, because it only provides temporary symptom relief and doesn't address the underlying muscle loss. Nothing improves unless we target the root cause. strengthening the muscles can actually reduce the need to adjust the screen at all. If you ignore these early signs or avoid strengthening your muscles, everyday movements will increasingly strain your structure. Age-related muscle loss weakens joints, reduces stability, and amplifies pain. And yet, doctors often tell patients simply to lose weight. That advice, without addressing the underlying muscle loss, is no more than a temporary fix. The real solution is building muscle, because without strength, weight loss alone does not restore mobility, metabolism, or long-term health. Cardio and dieting cannot replace lost muscle, especially as the body ages. But strength training can increase metabolism, improve function, and support overall health. We have been blessed with nature's built-in overcompensation system. When stimulated, the body adapts and strengthens. When ignored, muscles shrink and problems grow. Imagination and the ocean of knowledge. Human imagination is the foundation of all knowledge. Our understanding grows not just from what others teach us but also from our ability to mix, match, question, and reinterpret information. Our brain is not a cup or a stream, it is an ocean. New ideas continuously flow into it from multiple directions. But political and social groups often want us to stay confined to narrow streams of knowledge. Yet our potential is oceanic, and our imagination drives evolution. Consider a simple story. The $5 story. Imagine standing by a river long before bridges existed. You see a log floating and imagine crossing the river using wood. You gather branches, build a raft with no tools, and paddle across. Your imagination, effort, and application of an idea open new territory. I call that ability, the $5, a metaphor for the innate value every human brings into the world. Groups, systems, and institutions often discourage people from using their $5 because independent thinkers challenge the status quo. But human progress, boats, bridges, technology, began with one person imagining something and acting on it. Communities can build more together, but everything begins with individual imagination. This is also where politics enters, shaping how people think and belong. But human knowledge ultimately rests on our individual willingness to imagine, explore, and evolve. We should question traditional practices, especially those that cause more harm than good. For example, immobilizing muscles due to pain often leads to further atrophy, whether in the lower back, feet, or elbows. Use it or lose it applies universally. I respect scientific medicine and surgery, but these should be our biggest tools, not our first-line solutions. We must exhaust simpler, logical, preventative steps before resorting to invasive ones. COVID-19 forced me to slow down and reflect, giving me the time to finally write all of this. If any of this makes sense to you, and you believe it can help someone, share it. Knowledge is always evolving. If tomorrow someone discovers something better and what I've written becomes outdated, I will welcome it. That is the nature of human growth. Until then, these are the thoughts I offer you to reflect upon. We should understand the importance of truth. Truth is not, and should not be, limited only to spirituality. It should guide our everyday lives as well. Being honest and straightforward makes far more sense to me, and we should all be bold enough to follow wherever truth-based knowledge leads us. Remember, even today's professionals belong to organizations that protect them and prioritize their interests. But regardless of the business or political pressures that come with those affiliations, you should never hide behind them. Your client's genuine well-being must always come first. The bottom line is this: we should seek truth rooted in common sense, truth that is not polluted by business agendas or political influence.